Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Hardcore Heroes. How are you guys doing today?
I'm alright. How are you?
Bab.
Good, good. I'm happy to be back in the United States, even though my background is still blindingly white.
The
I
good
guess,
old US of A.
yeah, if I move, you can see some detail now, at least.
The
Oh, yeah,
land of
yeah.
freedom.
White
Yes!
boy.
That's right. Oh,
Fantastic. And it's cool. It's actually a pleasant temperature here. It's not sweltering.
It's a bonus.
No, now that you're back in the US, I might crash some of your Counter-Strike games again.
Let's do it. Let's play some good old CS, where I don't have 180 ping every day.
Yeah.
Might actually be able to play well. Probably not. What have you guys been up to this week? For this last
This
couple
week?
weeks? Last few
Like-
weeks.
Taxes. It's tax season, so I've been busy putting in long hours. I guess for de-stress, I've been playing some Darkest Dungeon. It came out in its full capacity. That's been fun. Maybe not the best de-stress game, but it's fun.
is it much better
uh,
now than it was?
I'm sorry.
Is Darkest Dungeon a lot better now that it's released? I only played like a year ago.
There's some new things, like new additions to it that I like. One that I really enjoy is the monsters leave corpses. So they don't automatically move up in the line when you kill them. They leave a corpse there. And so you have to either kill the corpse, or you have to have an ability that clears them, or pull or push an enemy up or down the line. It makes kind of some strategic choices better. And one thing I liked is your stress. If it reaches 100, you have your quirk. If it reaches 200, you have a heart attack and die. So stress becomes like more,
Dangerous.
I don't know, deadly, and it matters more. I used to not care back in the first version. I was like, oh, great, quirks. I'll just go heal them.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. What about the rest of you guys?
Hell is programming.
I
That's all
any
I have to
further?
say.
No more statements on that one.
No further comments.
Can't talk about it.
I've been at work, and then in the last couple of days, I don't know if anyone plays Heroes of the Storm, the new patch. Rhaegar is like super OP now, so I've just been like slaying nerds.
Nice.
Rhaegar.
Isn't Rhaegar a healer though?
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like there's like a GIF on the Heroes of the Storm subreddit at the moment with Illidan and Zeratul are level 20, and Rhaegar's 19, and they 2v1 him, and he kills both of them.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
Rhaegar's pretty sweet right now. He's got like the lightning shield.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a talent at 16, so that every time it hits, it does more damage if it keeps hitting the same target. So it like scales up to like 400 or 500 DPS like every time it hits. It's awesome.
That's some false stat ability right there.
Yeah. Yes, I've been doing that. Not much else.
What about you, Corny?
I like that I've become this character. Lots of role playing. Actually, I completely forgot about this. A couple of weeks ago, I joined a Fallout pen and paper game, and it's really, really fun if you like the Fallout universe at all. It's very enjoyable if you have a decent GM, and I have a fantastic GM.
Describe that game a little bit. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. Actually, I think I tried running one a long time ago. I failed horribly. But this guy, he did it in a really cool way. He actually made it set, I think, in like Canada, but in that it's just a winter wasteland. It's actually called Winter Wasteland. And part of the game is survival, and part of the game is exploration and finding cool stuff. And it's been really awesome so far. We've only played like 3 sessions. My guy has already gotten his ear bit off by a cannibal. However, he's also found an anti-material rifle and other very cool guns. Our party consists of myself, who is the very aloof security guard. We all came from a vault, by the way, which got destroyed by the Enclave, funnily enough. We have me, who is the stupid security guard. We have the cannibalistic chef, which no one knows is cannibalistic. And then we have the doctor, because everyone needs a doctor. And then we have Gordon Freeman, who named his character Gordon Freeman for some reason. He's the mechanic. Yeah, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's a great game.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, why don't we hop into game today? And we're going to start off today's session with Van Helsing, actually. So you're hanging out in your temple, your cathedral one day, when you get a summons to the head temple.
Okay. So that's I mean that's pretty close by, right? Like I'm in the
Yeah,
Trent district.
It's walking distance. This isn't too unusual of a thing. You get summoned all the time for this thing, for that thing. It's a little bit of an odd summon, odd time of day. It's not like someone wakes you up in the morning and says, "Can you stop by later today?" This is more middle of the day. One of the acolytes comes up and says, "Oh, Father Heelsing, the High Cleric could, the High Cleric requests your presence, sir."
All right, I'll put Frederick in charge and just head on over, I guess.
Okay. You go over to the head temple, and there is Mother Elise and Father Owen. You don't see Brother Loris anywhere around right now, but Mother Elise waves you over to the table where she's sitting next to Father Owen and says, "Ah, Vaughn, how are you doing this fine afternoon?"
Just working hard.
Good. I don't know if you've heard, but a knight has died recently.
Perhaps I know him. What was his name? Holy crap, I'm
I did
losing my
not
voice.
write down his name. He's a landed knight from Muckside, which is the place where you actually were just at 3 weeks ago with Spike and Violet. And
Okay, so that's
the
where we
child.
traded the
Was
baby.
that not Burnshire?
Burnshire. Somehow got the name got changed to Muckside. No, Burnshire is correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
So was that where we actually wound up meeting Spike, or was that the
Yes,
village
that is
where
a
his-
Spike. That is the town Spike lives in. Burnside. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The landed knight there has passed away. None of us here in town knew him, but we were informed that you had a relationship with him?
He passed away.
Yes, quite tragic.
How long has it been since our last?
Been 3 weeks, roughly.
Okay.
So I imagine it happened like a few days ago, since word had to like travel.
You could ask them.
Okay. Do you know when he died?
Yesterday, it seems. His wife found him in the morning. Word was dispatched, but only got here last night, and I only learned of it this morning. The Baroness has asked one of us clerics to oversee his funeral, as he was a landed knight, a person of note, deserves a proper burial. And we wondered if you wanted to do the rites, as you knew him.
Perhaps I should. Could you give me details of his death? I was in Burnshire not long ago. The knight there seemed a healthy man.
Yes, he taken quite quickly, perhaps a fever or an illness. His wife said he seemed healthy one day, and the next he was weak. The day after that, he was almost gone, and he died sometime the next morning.
I think Van is like visibly kind of disturbed by this when he's kind of hearing this news, and he says, of course, I will travel to Burnshire and speak at his funeral if it is requested of me.
I believe he would like that. Thank you. His body has not been embalmed, so if you could make it out there today or tomorrow at the latest, that would be most appreciated.
Very well.
We will have someone oversee your duties. Do not worry
Okay.
about that.
And then I just I get the rest of the party. Like I immediately go to start finding people. I probably start with Corny since I know where it's easy to find him.
Mm-hmm. All right. You swing by and find Corny at the Half Pint. He is, I don't know. Corny, what are you doing? Oh, actually, hold on. Before we go any further, let's talk about gnomes a little bit here. We know gnomes rhyme, and they're always rhyming, and that's their thing. And before, it wasn't very well figured out why. It was just part of them. But I've spent a little bit more time thinking about gnomes, and this is the reason why gnomes rhyme. It's a sign of intelligence, wit, ability, and kind of general politeness. Think about it as it's like the proper way of speaking. If you can speak properly and eloquently, you are considered intelligent and model citizen. But if you're talking like you're down fucking the from the docks, and you're spitting and cursing, your words aren't all the way there, and you kind of got a weird pronunciation. You just sound like a Jack. But the rhyming is an elegant and refined sort of way. So if you're maybe trying to piss someone off or trying to be rude to someone, you might intentionally not rhyme. Or if your rhymes break apart from time to time, well, you're maybe not the most eloquently spoken person of all. And of course, you would understand that these lesser races don't have the intellect to even handle this rhyming thing, so you don't hold it against them. Or gnomes generally don't hold it against the less intelligent people of the world. It's beneath them to be able to. They're just not quite elevated to the same level as you folk.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
So that's a little bit more depth on gnome rhyming. Please
that.
continue.
Yeah, so I would probably, depending on what time of day it is, I would either be brewing or helping serve people. Actually, I'd probably be brewing most of the time because that's what I do here. Just when my friends come over, I serve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I assume I'm just kind of like walking into the tavern.
Yeah.
Okay. I find Corny and I kind of sit him down at a table whenever he has a chance to just kind of take a minute, and I tell him about the night passing, and I mention I kind of trust Corny on this one because he's one of the other people who helped pay for that kid, like to get that kid out of that house. So I kind of trust him on this, but I just kind of mentioned that the knight passed away and that I suspect foul play was involved. Because the knight was pretty young, right? Like, he wasn't old.
30s, maybe early 40s.
So not like, I'm going to immediately
Keel over. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of mentioned that I suspect foul play was involved given the timing.
Okay. And you tell me all this?
Yeah, I just relay all
All
the
right.
information to you.
All right. Yeah, I'll look rather flabbergasted. And, what an interesting event this is. Did we not talk to this wife of his?
I don't believe so. I don't recall meeting her.
Perhaps this information would give. Maybe we should go to where they live?
Yes, I was given leave by the temple to travel to Burnshire. They wanted me to speak at his funeral.
Well, perhaps we ought to leave. Not let them keep on going and bereaving.
Indeed. We should make haste. They asked me to leave as soon as possible.
Grand. 1 moment is all I ask, and then I shall take you to task. Yeah, I jump off the seat and go and get my dad and try to get permission to go again.
You've been doing great. Beer's been coming along just fine. Why don't you take some time, go with your friends, and here, have a skin of wine.
Aye, thank you, Father. Thank you much. Trust me, this shall not be a crutch.
Off you go, lad.
Yeah. Also, I make sure to get another wineskin. I take that wineskin, definitely, but I also get another wineskin and fill it, like, topped up with my own wine, my own ale. Make sure I have enough to give to people.
Right.
And I go up and meet Helsing again.
Okay, so I guess we just have to, like, track down Malachi and Croak. I mean, I assume Croak, because Croak doesn't really do anything around town. He's like...
He might even be just in a different part of the bar.
Okay.
I would like to be in one of the poorer bars, kind of down by the docks.
Yeah, there's only 6 bars in town, I think, so it's a pretty quick thing to rally everyone. I think the Catch is down by the docks.
Sounds good.
Okay, so then we get everyone together, and I assume everybody can, like, leave town and just go straight for Burnshire?
Sure.
Well, now hold on, Van. Now, I appreciate you coming down and helping my family out, but before we agree to go on this, I want to be clear. This is a dangerous journey. You remember those giant beasts that wanted to make some croak soup? Like that? I don't want to run into that again. Why exactly need we go?
I wouldn't be so scared of those beasts. Your professional tendon stabbing nearly flattened one of them on its own.
Well, I do what I can. I must admit, though, I think it all would have gone to hell without those amazing grass skills. You clearly have a green thumb, Mr. Helsing. But look, I owe you a favor because you came and you helped my family and did a marvelous job doing so. So I will go with you, but I'm truly trepidatious about this journey.
Well, if it's of any interest to you, his wife would be of noble class. And nobles are often very thankful when you do work for them. If we found that Spike was involved.
You think she would provide a reward?
If we prove Spike was in some way involved with this, which at the moment I believe he was.
Well, do you remember those dogs and crossbows and men? I don't think it's necessarily the four of us's place to try and defeat a man like that, especially if he has already killed off a nobleman.
I do not suggest going in there and starting a fight with him. I suggest investigating, seeing if we can find evidence to link him to it. If we can prove he was involved, then we will have men to aid us. There is law within Burnshire.
I believe the law is dead. He died of an illness or a stroke or a fever.
Yet he had a household guard.
If we can prove it, we may be able to get men from the main town to come and assist us. But,
or what town was it that had that? Oh god, who was the knight in Croak's? Yeah, who was the knight in Croak's hometown?
I do not remember her name. Croak, do you remember your hometown's name?
I know the hometown's name is Gododin.
Gododin.
Okay. Well, you look for it. I'll just go. Sir Placeholder would likely offer us assistance if we were to prove, if we could prove that this man was legally involved.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, though. If he finds out that we're investigating him and he was responsible for the knight's death, I don't imagine he'd be look favorably upon it.
I would also imagine a family with as much power as he has in that town is going to be mighty suspicious of the four of us returning after we already went there armed and negotiated for the purchase of his newborn son. I just don't see this being an easy task. Now, as I said, I do owe you a favor, and I could go there without any recompense this one time. But I want you to be aware this is a trepidatious journey, and I fear that we may be stepping into more than we can handle.
Croak, what is it that you are suggesting? We leave this town open to molesting? It's not a good ideology to have, sir.
Well, what I am suggesting is to let the proper authorities handle it. We just simply are not equipped to handle these types of situations. I believe that's what the nobility is for. Look at Tyrus and all his soldiers here in town. You telling me some of them can't take care of this matter?
Why, Helsing! He's the closest thing we have to authority. I'd bet my life on that with a jar of my own pee.
I just look away.
Burnshire is hardly our responsibility.
Hardly our responsibility, but we do stand... I was asked by the temple to go there and oversee this funeral. I do need to travel there, and I would appreciate having companions to travel the road with.
All right.
If it turns out we have work that we can do in Burnshire, we can find justice for the night, and hopefully find recompense for Croak here.
Well, I do owe you this, and you are a friend of mine, so I will join you. I just wanted my fears known and spoken aloud. We should undertake this very cautiously.
I agree. In fact, I would suggest bringing your own rations for the journey. The less we eat in town, the safer we are. The knight fell ill very quickly, very suddenly. It's possible poison was involved.
This is a grand idea. I snap my fingers at the barkeep. I'm like, I'm gonna need 4 bowls of these to go.
There's not much in the way of to-go food here, but they bring you over some fried chicken.
Excellent.
And you can stash it in your backpack or something.
Where would I go to buy iron rations?
There is a general store in town.
All right, and how much is it for a week's worth?
Nope, it's a monstrous manual.
I do have 7 days already, but I mean,
well, it's less than a week out. That's what, a
Yeah.
day away at most?
I don't think I'd be in there for a full week. Plus, we can like eat in that one town that we like crossed through to get to Burnshire.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't necessarily have to go through Gododin to get there. We just went there because you wanted to talk with my family first. We could just go straight to Burnshire.
Yeah.
How
I
long
seem
would
to
that
remember
trip
you
be?
wanting to avoid it, Krug.
I would not like to go back home. No, it is not a pleasant place at all.
I would agree.
Very
Let's
well.
see. It is about 10 or 11 miles to get to Burnshire if you cut through the forest. If you follow the road, it's probably closer to 12 miles, probably closer to 13 miles actually, but it's a lot safer of a journey and a lot faster of a journey since you're traveling on road and not kind of up and down and around and through bushes and shit.
Okay. So
I think we stick to the road.
Yeah, it would be half a day there, half a day back. You got a gnome with you, so maybe 3/4 of a day in each way.
All right. I guess I don't need to get more ration. I mean, I do have a week's worth. So that
Yeah.
should probably cut it.
Okay, as you guys are um,
It's like, is it still early in the day? Like early enough to get there before nightfall, or should we wait until tomorrow morning?
if you took off now, you would be getting there a little bit after the sun sets.
I kind of look for opinions on that.
I think if we set off now, then I can take damaging spells for the road, and then perhaps take more subtle spells for the negotiations the next day.
that might be a very good idea. Let's see here. Oh crap! I need to actually memorize my spells for the day.
That seems a fine plan. I would be okay with this. I would want to make sure we are as careful as possible during the night. I would hate to be tied up and put in a stew.
Agreed.
Great.
So, you take off now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the plan.
All right, you guys journey. It is a pleasant walk along the road. You do not come across any strange wolves, although there have been some reports of wolves in the area, a few more than usual. The issue with the bullywugs has been declining quite a bit. They're still around and still problematic, but there have been no more raids on towns or anything like that. And while we are on the road, why don't we take a look at this wonderful new Malachi artwork? For all of you wondering who Malachi is and what he looks like, well, here's one more piece to that puzzle. Do you have anything you'd like to say about your beautiful drawing?
Just thanks a lot to Zonalar. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
It's like it took him a lot of time, and I really appreciate it.
It's awesome. It's great work.
What does the carving on your staff say?
Do you know, I haven't had a chance to work that out. Apparently, the clue lies in the player's handbook.
Ooh. Is that actually... That's Zonalar's writing then? It's not something you told him to write?
That's not... I did not tell him to write that.
Alright. Cool. Anyway, the party is continuing and walking through the forest on their way to Burnshire. It takes you the better part of the day, and eventually you arrive a little bit past sundown. You make your way to the town by the beacon of light on the keep on the slight hill in town, and you arrive at the gate. There is a guard on duty, 2 guards on duty. There are a couple of torches stuck in sconces up around the wall. They give you a bit of a look, and then see Van Helsing and go, "Oh, you must be the cleric they sent from Shirebrook.
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. You're here to perform the rites on our dearly departed lord?"
Yes. What was his? I'm asking you, like, as a GM. I'm not asking him. What was his name again?
I have no idea. I just got back into town like yesterday and haven't had a chance to review the notes from last session.
Does anyone else remember?
No.
No.
Something.
Or something.
Yeah. I don't know. We could just make something up, I guess.
All right. His new temporary name is Sir Rossick.
Okay.
Sorosic.
Sir Edgar.
That sounds
sounds
right.
Sir Edgar, yeah. I think that-
Edgar sounds right.
Does sound right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I just kind of mentioned Yes, I am. Could you? It's been a long journey, friends. Would it be possible for us to take shelter in Sir Edgar's estate as we once did?
Of course, his wife would have no other means of it. Please come in.
Thank you. And yeah, I guess we just kind of go in.
All right. You guys hop on in. They lead you to your rooms for the night. There's actually not a lot of space. Some of you are going to have to sleep on a couch or share a bed, which is not too unusual in this day and age. If you had a lot of siblings, you probably grew up sleeping or sharing a bed with all of your siblings. Space is kind of limited, and people aren't very wealthy, so it's a normal thing. And the night passes fairly uneventfully. The next morning,
When we get there, can I like talk to
oh, of
his wife?
course, yes.
Yeah.
So like whenever I have a chance, just kind of talk to her one on one. I kind of ask for the details of her husband's death.
Francine, dressed all in black with the veil down, goes, "He was always such a strong man, but 4 days ago he took ill, became violently ill. He weakened rather quickly, and then he just faded into an empty shell of a man and died. It was very fast. 3 days and gone."
And it happened very suddenly.
Yes, yes.
My lady, I would hate to step out of turn, but have you possibly suspected foul play involved in this?
It, of course, it's been suspected, but our cooks here are loyal people. They've loved the family a long time, and I can't imagine anyone in the estate would do such a thing. And we've had very few visitors. He was healthy as a horse. There's no way someone could have. I mean, the only way to do it would be through magic or through poison, and we've had no wizards coming through town, aside from, of course, you. She points to Malachi. Um, and we've always eaten here.
Uh,
Yes?
so this, I don't know if this matter or not, but when you cast like, you can cast cause disease on somebody, right? As a cleric.
Yes, you can if you have the
Would
right
that-
schools.
Yeah, if somebody cast detect magic, would they notice that you had cast that spell? Like, would there?
It is
be
a
some
magical
sort
disease. It
Okay.
would show up as such. After you're
Okay.
dead, though, maybe not.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty fast acting for a
Yeah,
low level spell.
I don't think the cleric's cause disease works that fast, anyways.
No.
I think I kind of ask, like, I kind of ask if it's okay if I can sort of talk to some of the cooks, and because I want to be very
Yeah.
sure. Like, I just kind of sure. Like, I just want to be very sure. I want to make sure that we pursue all possible leads. Sir Edgar was a great man, and I would hate for any potential miscreant who would do this to him to go unpunished.
You may, but I, I do not suspect foul play myself, so do not drag this out. Let my husband die with some dignity.
Very well. If I do not find anything soon, I will forgo the investigation and simply perform the rites at the funeral.
As we walk off, I lean into the group and I say, "Call me a conspiracy theorist, but this is the second noble person to be afflicted under strange circumstances. Maybe our friend Venlin is around."
Well, he was supposedly have left town via
This
a wave
direction.
skipper.
No, didn't he arrive on the wave skipper?
This is true. Maybe we should have a chat with the dockmaster again.
Like I say, it's probably nothing, but worth bearing in mind.
Yeah. I think Van wants to go to the kitchens, and I think he asked Malachi to go with him. Because
Yeah.
Malachi's a pretty smart guy, and I think he kind of wants his
The
I think he kinda wants-
smartest. Yep.
he wants his investigative insight. Van Helsing's got all those street smarts, but he needs a guy with book smarts.
All right, cool. To the kitchens.
All right. You find. Well, at this hour of night, the cook's already gone home, but you can have the cook summoned if you want, and they can meet you in the kitchen.
I'd rather just talk to him tomorrow before the funeral
Okay.
happens.
Cool. So we'll just skip to the next morning.
Okay.
The funeral is scheduled for late that morning, so you have time to do everything and then head home.
Okay.
And the cook arrives, has food waiting for you guys when you wake up, and you are free to chat with her as you please.
Okay. I kind of like I make sure Malachi's with me because I'm kind of hoping that he can pull a miracle out of his ass if things don't go well.
Yeah,
First. Like if we're suspecting something, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get information, I'm hoping that he can pull something out.
I'm with you. Trying to look menacing slightly.
Okay.
Not in a physical way, but in a
Yeah. I kind of pick up on it. And I'm like, oh, and I kind of don the good cop persona, and I just kind of say, this is a bit of an awkward subject to broach, but I would like to speak to you about Sir Edgar's death, if you would not mind.
She leans back. She's got kind of a big belly and tree trunk-like legs, thick arms, greasy hair that's pulled back in a ponytail behind her. Puts her hands on her belly and says, "Well, it's such a terrible thing to see Lord Edgar dead. Sir Edgar dead. We always referred to him as Lord, even though he wasn't. Such a good man."
I simply want to ask if you've seen it, if you had seen anything strange in the time leading up to his death. But before he became violently ill. I know it's a long shot, but it's possible foul play was involved. I imagine he made an enemy of that foul man Spike when he aided us in our...
Yeah, Spike still is quite the devil. I don't know where he's going to go now. Oh, luckily, I won't be going with him. Heading to the east, live with my brother.
Right.
Did you perhaps have any visitors to the kitchen or to your home in the last few days? You may not remember. Search your mind.
Stops and looks long and hard and goes, No, just the other servants.
The other
Lord
servants.
Twin Tower came to visit last week, but that's the only unusual visitor we've had.
Lord Twin Tower.
What did he want to know?
I don't know. I'm just a lowly cook and not privy to that sort of information.
He didn't visit you personally, then?
Oh, no. He had business with Sir Edgar.
This is... I just kind of give Malachi a look, but I guess I don't say anything to that. But,
Perhaps we should speak to
yeah,
his wife regarding Lord Twin Tower.
Yeah, I kind of just asked the cook, if you remember anything, if you have a moment where you remember seeing something out of place, seeing something odd, do not hesitate to speak to me.
Of course. I'm gonna miss this place, she says, kind of rubbing the counters fondly before turning back to her work and continuing with food.
Yeah, I just kind of like give her sort of a reassuring pat on the shoulder and a smile before walking out of the room.
As I walk out, I turn around and I say, "Why is it again that you're leaving?"
Oh, well, the land's being broken up. It's to be inherited. Some new lord is taking over, and they're disbanding the village. The whole village. It's being split up.
Do you know who they're splitting it up among?
No. What one? I'm sorry, I misspoke. What one man is taking over, or one lord is taking over. Most of the people here are bound to the lord on the land, but now that the village is being disbanded, we all have to go find new villages.
I see. Who's this new lord that is going to be taking over?
I don't know.
Perhaps we should speak to Sir Edgar's wife.
Agreed. I just kind of... I think we just go speak to her directly.
As we're walking back, I say, seems now we've got two people with motive.
Indeed. I'm interested to see what is... I'm interested to see what was involved with Lord Twin Tower. I don't know why a man said... To come out personally, too. The road is dangerous to travel.
Yes. Although I'm sure Lord Twin Tower would be safe enough.
Indeed, but... I mean, you understand my meaning. There's something strange about that.
We need to distinguish whether he was an ally of Sir Edgar or an ally of the new Lord. I'm sure his visitation was political in motivation.
Most likely. Let us go talk to her.
Okay. You find her. She's well, she's still preparing for the funeral, which is coming up pretty soon. She's upstairs, kind of getting dressed by her lady's maid and whatnot.
I kind of I let Van take the lead and I stay a few steps behind.
Hold on, while you guys are doing that, let's flip over to Cork and Corny for a moment. What are you guys doing?
I want to go find Spike.
On
I'm
your
gonna
own?
make sure Croak doesn't get himself killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
that's
own's
what I'm
fine.
doing.
We're with Corny.
The two of you head off, and you find Spike's house down in the village.
It's the easiest one to find. It's the big one.
Easy.
Is there like a? There's no one out and about, right? So I just rap on the door.
Yeah, there's an old hound dog lying on the porch. He gives you like a lazy look and goes back to doing his thing. Eventually, someone comes down and opens the door. They look a little familiar, but you can't quite place them. Probably one of the guys you saw here last time.
I say, hello. My name is Croak. Croak the First. I would like to have a little chat with the Lord of the Manor here. I believe he goes by Spike. He may remember me.
Spike! Shouts. You hear some footsteps on the roof, the ceiling. Probably someone on the floor above you. And soon enough, Spike comes down the staircase right in front of you, looks over the banister, spots you, and goes, "Well, if it ain't the people who bought my baby."
Yes. Well, that was an unfortunate circumstance. I hope you are happy with the purchase price and have put it to good use. We're actually here because the lord of the estate over here, Mr. Edgar, seems to have passed away, and I wanted to have a little chat with you. Seems there may be a power vacuum here, and I see you're doing awful well for yourself. And I hear that there may be some disbanding of the village, and that just doesn't seem right. I think you and I need to have a talk.
I certainly have no problems with it. Means I can pick up and move over to Godot and get to be paid for my baby and still see him too. I think this is a win-win for old Spiky.
Is it that easy? Pick up and leave all that you've built here behind and just move somewhere else? Is it going to be the same? You're going to have the same influence, same wealth, same power?
Well, of course not, but it'll be
Why
a new
not
challenge. Get to
step
start from the
into
ground
void?
up.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Neil?
Get to start from the ground up. New challenge, new adventure.
Well, I appreciate a hard-working man that is willing to start from the ground up, but it seems here you've already built yourself a little bit, and that, as I said in the beginning of here, there's a bit of a void in the power structure. You might find new challenges and new things to hold your time just by stepping up a little rank.
I would like to hear what you have to say. Come on in, Croak, and bring on your little friend, too. I like
Excellent.
the way your little friend works.
And he'll say, I'm gonna murder you, Croak.
He
Excellent.
motions you over to the table and asks the woman who opened the door to get you... I'm sorry, the man who opened the door to pour you guys all some tea. You're all
Well.
sitting around the table now.
The way I see things, the untimely demise of your landed knight here just opens the door for you to step in and kind of take his place. Now, I know that there's going to be some kind of rearranging in power, and I've heard little birdies speaking about perhaps disbanding this here village, but I don't see any reason why you can't just enforce that everyone has to stay and work for you. And you have the men, and you have the means, and you have the money. All you need to do is figure out who this new knight is and perhaps take him out of the picture a little bit.
You and I aren't all that different. I originally planned on staying here and people look to me as a natural sort of leader anyway. I thought
Of
things
course
might
they
be
do.
going
They fear you.
nicely. The changing of the old guard. However, this new lord, this Mr. Two Towers, or Double Bucket, or whatever his name is, he says he doesn't want any of us. He says he's returning the village to the land. And we are all not simply released from our bonds, says Sir Edgar, but we are actively being kicked out. Not without some compensation. It's a generous man, this double stuffed rock, or whatever.
So the man who visited here a week back or so, he's the one that's now in charge?
I think that's how it goes.
Interesting.
But you know, rumors are rumors. I'd love to be a
And
fly on the wall in the room at the time, but
tell me, what's to stop you from reinvesting his fine contribution to you into keeping everybody here?
do you have a plan?
Well, the way I see it, he's going to have to come here himself, or at least on the road. And you and I could probably find a way to prevent him from returning. That's the only way he's going to have of stopping you from staying here.
It would be terrible if some bandits assaulted him on the road. His body
Indeed.
ripped apart by wolves. Awful shame.
Now, here's where the real interesting part is. You see, I already have a small relationship with this Lord Twin Tower. Seems his wife was quite disfigured. And there is a real possibility that I could lead him down the road and get on his good side. And when you, let's say, get your men together to ambush him, we could make right quick work of him. I smile, kind of let my broadsword kind of shimmer a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Like the way you think, old croak.
Now,
But I did not come to this respected position in town half baking my cakes. If you already have a working relationship with this man, perhaps you ought to find out when he is visiting next and how many men he brings with him. If he travels
Well-
alone, if he has a full bodyguard. Some information might be nice before we make the dough. Get the recipe
Sure
right.
enough, I could do that. What I was hoping to do was to return to town and let him know that this was just clearly a case of his orders not being followed, and that he would need to return to set things straight. There was confusion and unrest among the town, seeing as they were so quickly displaced, and that it seems the who is your rival here in town, Mr. Spike?
No one.
Well, it seems that the Lady Frances, I guess, is disturbed that she has to displace so many of her
Oh,
underlings
she's
and
leaving
hirelings.
too.
And he needs to come have a talk with her. And I could bring him forthwith to straighten things out, hopefully with as quickly as possible so he cannot muster a force.
Yes. If you let him, perhaps if he believes that a lady such as herself is having an issue, he won't bring so many men. You tell him the town, the village is having an uprising or problem, he might bring some brutes along. You'd never suspect a lady of plotting against him.
Exactly. The poor lady's just distraught and bereaved, and she needs a little bit of just talking to. Needs to straighten things out.
Nods. Well, I like the way you think. Why don't you figure out what you can and send word for me? I know my letters. What do you think
get-
there? He says, looking
Huh?
at Corny very suspiciously. You haven't spoken up one pipe. Of course, you'll agree with our plan here.
Oh yes, yes, of course.
We all
Why,
stand to gain quite a fortune.
why would I not want to help with this remorse? Yes.
Because you're very quiet.
Yes, we gnomes, you know, we're a quiet sort. But in this kind of endeavor, we're all good sports.
Uh-huh. He looks at Croak.
You see, Spike, I pay him to be quiet. His job is to make sure my back is not turned into a pincushion. You see, he may not look like much like myself, but large explosions come in small packages, so I've heard. And this man is quite deft with a bow.
Oh, he's right, you know.
Yes.
See,
Still, I'd
the
like to
more
hear what you
underestimate
think.
The two of us, the better.
Well, I believe your heart's in the right place, Mr. Croak. But what was your name again, little fella?
Corny.
Corny. I like the name. Corny, how do you think we ought to deal with the issue at hand?
Well, you see, I think diplomatic solution might be the best, but you people are the experts here. I would not hope to molest your ideas.
He's not paid to think. I do the thinking, he does the bow shooting.
Uh-huh. I just want to make sure that we're dealing with good and loyal folk. Some might call our patriotic desires to keep our town thriving something as low and villainous as sedition. That certainly would not do.
Oh, of course not. We are nothing but patriots of this here town.
You know, I once had an associate of mine who, well, he got his head all turned around and he thought one of our perfectly legitimate business enterprises was a little bit something, and he gone on told that damn fool of a sheriff about our plans, and well, that caused quite a pickle for us. We ended up having to lose a few barrels of some very fine dwarven whiskey. Something about the proper import taxes not having been paid, or something like that. It was a damn shame, you know, a man like that. Your head gets turned around, and one day you find yourself wandering in the woods late at night and getting ripped apart by wolves. Poor boy, he got so confused, he just walked into a pack of wolves.
Well, it's high time I think that Mr. Twin Tower walks into a similar pack.
Yes. Let's just make sure that Corny here doesn't get confused.
No, I'll be okay. Be sure of
Good,
that.
good. I like to think that. Now, why don't you all run along and we'll see you at the funeral. And give your, well, if you have any regards for your cousin, I'll be seeing her right soon, one way or the another.
Alrighty.
Cool. So
All right.
let's flip back to Malachi and Van Helsing, who are knocking on Lady Francine's door.
Yes. Jesus.
She lets you guys in, or one of her lady maids lets you guys in. It is very still and quiet in her room. You can hear a little bit of chatter from downstairs, and there's a gentle breeze outside, but the windows are shut, so you can just barely make out the creaks of the trees. She's dressed all in black. Her infant son is beside her. She's sitting on the edge of her bed, looking at you. Says, "Yes, gentlemen. Is there something you need before we begin?"
Yes. I wanted to ask you about Lord Twin Tower. I was told he came to visit last week.
He did.
Could you tell me about that? Do you know why he came?
You know, Edgar said that the two of them had some business. They had known each other for many, many years. Um, my late husband, squired for one of Sir Twin Tower's cousins. They had a working relationship going back, well, since my late husband was quite young. Um, I was out of town. I didn't hear too much about the meeting. Sir Edgar was sometimes a bit of a closed-off man. You know knights, they all war, no heart. Well, not no heart, but they like to play things close to the chest. If I asked about the meeting and he said it went well, they chatted a little bit about old times and about new times, and it didn't sound like it was anything other than a pleasant meeting of old friends.
Is she attractive, Neil, Lady Francine?
Yeah, um, she's a good-looking woman, and actually,
Lady.
she's not technically a noble either.
Okay,
Yeah.
Miss Francine, were you and Sir Twin Tower much acquainted personally?
Ours was an arranged marriage, but
No,
after
no, it
being
was
married to a
not.
man for 10,
Not.
15 years, you get to know him.
I misspoke. I do not mean Sir Edgar. Do you know Lord Twin Tower?
Oh, my mistake. No, we've met on the occasion, but we've dined with each other a few dozen times. But I know his wife a little better.
Do you know of her recent troubles?
I have heard the rumors, although I do not think the gods would strike someone down for simple blasphemy. Seems a
I do
little
not.
unusual. I've heard people in the village say far worse things.
Those responsible were caught and punished for their actions. It was not the work of the gods, it was the work of man.
Oh, I see.
We heard that with your husband's untimely death, the village may be disbanded and the residents leaving.
Yes, Lord Twin Towers himself has taken over the land here.
And what do you propose to do?
I'm going to live with family.
In Shybrook?
No, no, another village near the border of the Ashlands. It's where I'm from. I'll
Okay.
be staying with my father. Um, even if he wasn't disbanding the village, that would be my only course. The land falls to him, and I think I don't know why he's doing it. I'm sure he has his reasons. He's a very knowledgeable and good man.
And when Sir Twin Tower visited, you said you were away. Where were you? Where did you go?
She looks at you a few seconds before answering, almost as if she's looking at you like, "What are you trying to get at here?" With a little bit of suspicion. She says, "I was with family, the very same family I will have to visit again so soon. Unfortunately, they are unable to make the funeral today."
Alas. Must be a dangerous journey. It would have been good for you to have company on the road back.
Well, my late husband's men-at-arms have offered to escort me home before disbanding themselves and returning to wherever they go.
Well, I give my condolences. I'll see you at the funeral, and I turn and leave.
Okay.
I walk out with Malachi, and I kind of say, I feel like we're running into a dead end here.
Could you speak up, Sean?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was too far away from the mic. I kind of turn to Malachi and say, I feel like we're investigating into a dead end here.
She's a lot more attractive than Lord Twin Tower's current wife.
I mean, she's going to be leaving the village very soon.
Yeah. Seems awfully suspicious to me. She leaves, Twin Tower turns up. Sir Edgar dies, Twin Tower inherits the land.
Are you suggest? And he just kind of like pauses there and just kind of stands for a second.
I'm just throwing out the ideas out there, Van. It doesn't
The cook
help our
didn't seem to know
investigation to
anything.
ignore things.
The cook didn't seem to know a thing, and if the cook didn't know anything, the easiest way to get poison to a man would be through his wife.
Through his wife, or if you're having dinner with him personally when he takes a break to the privy. Seems like ample opportunity to poison someone. A private dinner, the two of them.
Yeah, you see like uncertainty going through Van's face. Like this moment where it's like the most solid lead that he's had, but he's also not confident that it's the right lead.
Doesn't it seem strange that Francine wouldn't suspect it herself?
She did suspect it. She said she personally didn't believe it, but it had been suspected.
That's no, not Spike, but Sir Twin Tower.
I'm sorry?
Did she comment on whether she suspected Sir Twin Tower?
To be the one taking... Oh, as the murderer, no. I mean...
Seems the most obvious place to lay blame. It seems strange that she wouldn't even mention it.
That's true.
He needs a new wife. She needs a new husband. Just keep it in mind. Let's head to the funeral and see if we can find Krug.
Of course.
Corny.
It's an interesting thought, but it's nothing to act on at the moment.
I agree. It doesn't do us good to make false accusations.
No. The only thing we stand to gain from it is the loss of our heads, so perhaps we should keep this between us for now.
I look around over my shoulders. Perhaps you're right.
Okay. A few hours later, everyone gathers for the funeral. It proceeds well. There's no checks to be made. Is there anything any of you would like to say specifically in character over the body as it's lowered into the ground?
I don't have anything specifically. I just think all Van Helsing's, I know he's just doing rites, but if he's ever asked to speak, I think he just says a few words about the honor of Sir Edgar and how he kind of intervened in a matter that he didn't have to help secure kind of a peaceful resolution to a rather heated conflict.
Okay.
I keep my eyes on Lady Francine and Spike. And I assume the Twin Tower hasn't turned up for the funeral.
No.
How does Francine take it? Is she in fits of tears?
She is doing a good job of holding it back. Her veil covers her face as well, which kind of makes it hard to see what's going on, but she's definitely not doubled over or audibly wailing. If you're standing close to her, you can hear her sniffling and some choked up noises coming out of her.
I check the crowd, like, how is the rest of the crowd? Is there anyone else who seems to be particularly moved by his death?
Everyone seems to be pretty upset. No one else is... I mean, it seems like a very standard funeral. You got some folks who are kind of, well, that's a shame. You got some other people who are clearly closer to him that are just completely ruined and slouched and vacant eyes. You got some kids who are shifting uncomfortably on their feet, not really sure what's going on, and a baby crying over here, and, you know, it's a funeral. Nothing looks out of place.
Who is leading the funeral apart from Van? Like, is there a gravekeeper or something like that?
His men-at-arms are the ones who are lowering him into his grave, and the actual grave itself has been dug by... There's no gravekeeper in town, so it would just be by the local priest.
Would the local priest have, like, treated the body and things like that?
He said some words over it beforehand, but the body is... I mean, it's covered in flowers to hide the smell, but it's just a rotting corpse. It's not even an open casket. You know, everything's shut and sealed.
I make a note of the priest. I might go and speak to him at some point.
Okay.
But I just stand there and, head down.
All right. Croak and Corny, anything particular you would like to do or say?
Nope.
All right.
Does Corny come to speak to Van at any point?
Yes, I do. Probably.
Okay, so before you speak to anybody, we need to have a talk.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so before the funeral,
Okay.
when we're leaving and we find a quiet place, I want to say, Now, don't you worry, son. I am never going to kill this Twin Tower man. I would not put Spike in charge of this place. This is the best way I can think of to legally murder the hell out of him and all his boys.
My goodness.
You
Croak,
see,
you are
it's a double cross.
more intelligent than I'd ever thought. I mean, I know of your brains, but it seems that more you've got. Good
Indeed,
plans.
quite a bit more.
Yes. Now, shall we tell our friends forthwith? Or shall we leave it to the death?
I don't think that we need to tell our friend Van anything. He may object to this unnecessary spilling of blood. I think we should keep this between ourselves and perhaps the Lord Twin Tower and this Tyrus fellow I met in town.
Well, why not tell Heelsing? He's good.
He is a
Honestly,
good man,
think we
but you do realize that what I'm doing here may be seen as murder or perhaps unlawful.
Killing. Also known murder.
It
And
is
I
not
don't want to bother his holy, sensibilities.
It is not murder in that sense. We are only crossing a sort of fence. I don't think he'll mind, to be perfectly honest. Why don't we just tell him, like a bodice?
Well, okay, Corny, Lemon, I would prefer that we don't tell Van a thing. Honest to God, I believe that he will have an issue with this. But if you find that it will soothe your worried conscience, I will accept responsibility for you telling him it won't be an issue.
I will do this thing, Crook, but I thank you for being as honest as you have been.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah. So that's before the funeral.
Okay, does he still wind up talking to me after that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing me and Croak, because me and Croak are probably hanging out the whole time. Like I probably like tug his shirt and we go over to you.
Okay.
And I'm yeah.
Am I not? Have you found a time when I'm not there, or?
Oh no, you would be there. That's fine.
Okay.
He's
So-
I have no issue telling Malachi, it's just Van.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume it's after the funeral then.
Yeah.
So wait, do you tell me like everything, like all of those weird, like even that weird bit about like how, oh, I'm gonna be seeing Violet real soon.
I would say like as we're coming up to you.
And Heelsing, I believe Croak has some things to say to you. Now, Croak, leave nothing else.
Do I have things to say?
Put you in a stew.
Oh, all right. My friend Corny is having a bit of a conscious attack, so I will let you know. You see, this Spike fellow has displeased me greatly, Mr. Van, and I have concocted method in which to get myself some much-needed retribution against him and his boys, and I'll be using the
Like, as he's saying
unfortunate
this,
death
I
of
kinda-
Sir Edgar to do so.
I kind of realized that we're still in public, and I just kind of like signal for him to like come closer, like, let's go inside before having this conversation.
I didn't want to have this conversation at all. All right.
Well, everything is wrapping up with the funeral.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we can find like an alley or somewhere like closed off, somewhere we can just kind of talk in private.
Yeah, it's going to take a few minutes. There's still people walking around, and Lady Francine comes up, or Miss Francine comes up, and thanks you for your services. It's wonderful. I love the words you spoke, yada yada. We will be in town for another fortnight or so before we have to leave, so yeah. Thank you. If you need any supplies for the road, my men will see to it. And then she...
Oh god damn, being an honest cleric. No, I'm fine. I shall make it back to town with what I have.
one of the men comes and provides you guys with like some bundles of food for the road that the cook has made up especially for you. It's got some muffins and some rashers of bacon in there.
Oh, one thing. Probably like as the funeral is ending and as we are all like walking back to Francine's house, I just hand her the wineskin and Just basically like wave her to have as much as she wants.
She smiles politely and says, "No, I think I better not."
Oh, but please, it will make you feel better. Trust me, it has made so many other people wet. No, not that. It will make you feel better.
She smiles, holds it in her hand, and just kind of hands it back to you.
Very
And as you take it, you see the bodyguards around her, the other men, looking at you like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
What? Like they have looks of kind of social horror on their face, like, "What?"
Would you men like some? It will be good in your tum.
Oh! They back straight. They all, put their heads in the air and pretend you just don't exist and push past you rather roughly as they escort her back to her their manor.
No taste in this village.
The party can chat in the village, or you can chat on the road back, whichever you
I
prefer.
want to just walk up to Croak and sort of speak quietly to him as we're walking back and say, Croak, you didn't seem too keen on dealing with Spike earlier. What is it? What's changed?
I assume we're all there for this. Like, I haven't left.
Well,
Okay.
Is this something you're doing privately or in front of the whole group?
Well, I was just gonna ask that question, just me and him, because I figured that we were going back to talk about it somewhere all together.
well, you see, I figure that I don't like him none. He cost me a great deal of time in town away from my business, and he threatened my family, which I am the only one that gets to threaten my family, I feel like. And honestly, if I can extort his wealth from him and maybe some from the Twin Towers as well for this information, then I think this could be a win-win for myself and for, well, mostly myself.
Well, let's discuss it together.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Do you guys have some chance to talk while you travel along the road
Okay.
as a group?
All right. Well, all right. I'll tell you all my plan, I suppose. So this Mr. Spike is a greedy man. I recognize such a trait in someone, such an awful flaw. But he is looking to step into the vacuum of power in town here and get a new name for himself. And I offered him, since we have a working relation with the Twin Towers, to bring them down this road, and perhaps they would fall victim to some bandits on the road. But of course, this isn't the plan. The plan is to warn said Twin Towers of the ambush, and I want them to come down here, mostly appearing to be just himself and a few men, and maybe myself as well to keep appearances up, but have Senor Tyrus up in the town, bring a few men down, and wait for the ambush to happen, and then we shall crush Tyrus, or not Tyrus, Spike and his men to a bloody pulp. And perhaps we can get rid of this blight on the countryside and make some money from it.
Sounds like a solid plan. I don't know how I feel about Twin Tower.
I kind of. I look toward Corny. I say, Corny, is he missing any details from this conversation? It's not that I don't trust your word, obviously, Croak, but Corny is a talented storyteller. I would trust him to catch all of the little nuances of that conversation.
I think he missed nothing not. Very little more have I got.
Those rhymes are spot on today.
The tactics
See
are
here, Van, I think that your involvement in this is probably going to have to be behind the scenes, because a man of your stature in town, and of course your holiness, is going to throw Mr. Spike off. Perhaps you would wait with Mr. Bellows in our plan here, but The goal here is to draw him out, and he shall be attacking a lord and trying to usurp him. We can legally get justice on this man.
Neil, before we go any further, Chiss is chaotic good, right? I'm just trying to frame how Van would respond to this.
Yes.
Say, there's no need to worry, Croak. A dishonest man being killed through dishonest means might be underhanded, but more importantly, it is poetic justice. That's the beautiful thing.
Oh, also, here's one thing more. I do not know if you forgot it, but I believe Spike mentioned something about be living closer to Violet.
That like strikes a note of concern. I say, we might want to stop through Croak's hometown on the way back to.
Oh, is that really necessary?
You don't have to go if you want. If he goes to see your cousin Violet before you do your nefarious deeds, that may not end well for her. There's like I run a whole temple, right? And there's like lodgings that you can give people temporarily, I assume.
Yeah, you could, in theory, someone could live with the other acolytes there. You've got some bunk beds and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I say I could offer her temporary living solutions while we work this out. I'd rather your cousin were not horribly murdered by this man or kidnapped.
My thoughts on it. Are we at all concerned with finding out who's responsible for Sir Edgar's death? Because I feel this plan may be allying us with the perpetrator.
Sometimes you have to play with vermin to sniff out a rat. If Twin Tower was involved in any way, it might be best to closer align
Is it
ourselves.
a problem that we're aligning ourselves with Twin Tower? Let's say he did kill a knight, got a little more land. What's the issue here? I don't see it. We're already friends with him. In fact, now he's a little more powerful.
Neil, is Twin Tower a higher sort of standing in society than Sir Edgar was, or are they the same?
Oh, absolutely. Sir Edgar was just a landed knight. Lord Twin Tower is a full-blooded noble.
Okay, well...
And I wouldn't say at the top of the nobility in Shirebrook, but he's definitely in the upper middle section of nobility.
Even if Lord Twin Tower did kill Sir Edgar, I'm sure he had noble reasons. Perhaps you're right. He'd make a strong ally.
His judgment will come for his crimes. I see no reason that we cannot align ourselves with him for now. We have nothing but suspicions to base our accusations on. We might as well work with him while we can until such time
we
comes.
know Spike to be a bad man.
Exactly.
So, even if Twin Tower is also a bad man, that doesn't absolve Spike of his crimes.
Exactly.
Well, as long as we can split his wealth once the deed is done.
I'm sure we can find some way to help you make some money out of this.
Well, that's the plan, you see. I want to get a bit of a finder's fee from Mr. Spike to have him bring along, assuming that I'm going to do the deed I say. And then perhaps we shall ask Mr. Twin Tower for a little bit of financial support for helping him rid this bloodsucker from the land he so clearly wishes to own.
I assume we intend to tell Lord Twin Tower about this plan before we take him along the road.
Oh, yes.
Good. Then I have no complaints with this plan.
Very good.
All right. I think that's it for now. You guys make it back to Shirebrook by nightfall. Everything is going along just fine. You all head back to your respective places. But Malachi, when you get back to your house, there are many people there.
Many people, as in all new people or townspeople?
Sailors. Your father is here, laid out on his bed, and his sailor buddies are surrounding him. They see you come in, and one of them, his first mate, walks up to you and says, "Malachi, I've got some bad news about your father.
No.
He's fallen badly ill. Desperately ill on our voyage a few days back."
What happened?
Well, we were up in Redport, and we're on our way back to Shirebrook, and he got sick. and he's been getting worse and worse. We made port as soon as we could, pushed it hard, and now we're here. And we summoned the cleric. We arrived this morning, this afternoon
Is the
almost. Summoned the cleric of the town. A few clerics came by. Uh, they said that there's nothing that could be done. They tried some of their healing spells. They didn't seem to be working. Um,
Get out of my way. And I like push him out the way and like barge through the crowd to the bed.
they cleared a little bit of space for you next to your very, very ill father.
Is he passed out?
He is unconscious.
So like I kneel down by the side of the bed and like take his hand,
All right.
kind of like turn it over and like just like looking at his skin. I assume like he looks like pallid or
It's cold, clammy, and pale.
Hmm.
One of the sailors says, "They say there's a Mother Elise in town, a stronger cleric, but she's not in town. She's not here now. I don't know if she'll be back in time or not."
Can you look into it for me?
It's already being done.
Thank you. What is your name, sailor?
Rogen.
Is he the first mate?
No, this is just another dude.
This is just Rogen. Okay. I would like some time alone with my father.
They clear the room.
Okay. And I close the door and just kind of like pace back and forth, like by the bed.
That was my thing.
Okay.
Not really sure what to think. Like, does he? I feel like his forehead. Does he look like he's dying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His forehead's a little warm, not burning, but he's definitely pale. His skin is cold to the touch. He's been piled with blankets, all the blankets in the house.
Mm. I like leave and go to the magic store to find Rohana.
Okay, she's there, putting about.
Rohana, my father, he's returned.
Oh,
Yes.
good. You're looking for what's
No.
wrong?
No, he's unwell, dying. Would you
Oh
would you
my.
see him for me?
Sure, of course. Let me close up here. She takes a few steps, hacks up some blood, struggles to support herself, catches her breath, closes up shop. It takes a little while, she's very sickly herself.
Yeah, like I help her walk.
Eventually, the two of you make it back to your place. And she kneels beside your father, looks over him a little bit. Rohana. She chants the words to a detect magic spell and glances over him and furrows her brow and says, "Your father is most unwell. I sense the presence of magic all over him. Do you know what he was into?"
He was in Redport. I'm not sure what. Maybe we can speak to the sailors.
You should get Mother Elise or Aldrich, the conjurer, very quickly.
At least this gives us hope. If we can dispel the magic, perhaps we can save his life.
Yes, that is beyond my ability for the time being, but perhaps Aldrich could do something, or if not
Aldrich.
him, Mother Elise might be able to, or
Do you
maybe even
know-
Father Owen.
Do you know Aldrich well?
Yeah, yes, I supply him with most of his materials.
Would you speak with him for me?
I will. I will bring him down here immediately.
Thank you, Rohana.
She gets up and struggles out the door. Yeah. What do you do?
I don't know. Does he have like a pack of things that were brought back with him?
Nope. All of his stuff is apparently still on the boat.
Okay, then maybe I head there. Check the captain's quarters. That's what I'm
There are
thinking.
a few sailors lingering outside. If you need anything to do with them.
So I say to the two that are there, I say, you two guard his room. Expect Rohana back with a visitor, and you guard the rest of the house. I take ownership of these sailors. I assume they still work for my family.
Yeah, they're loyal to your father. He's the captain of their ship. They spend a lot of time working with him. They're more than happy to see things done right. Seems the first mate has gone back to the ship.
Yeah, I grab another one and I say, I wish to inspect the ship. Can you take me there?
Aye. Follow me. And he takes you down to the docks. Your father's ship, the Sea Skipper, is docked. They
How
take
does
you
it
on board.
how does it look? Is it a good ship?
Yeah, it's a pretty good ship. Um, it's kept in pretty good condition. It's had a fresh coat of varnish put on it. The decks are clean. Everything's nice and trim. But it is dark now, so you can't see too much.
I've got like a torch I
Hmm.
light, or maybe I've grabbed a lantern from the house, and I say to the sailor who's walking me there, I say, my father's first mate. What is his name?
Your father's first mate's name is Delt. Delta.
Delt.
Delta is
Delta.
his name.
Okay. Do you know where he is?
He's in his quarters.
Okay, so I assume we're arriving at the ship, and I say, can you show me to my father's cabin?
They take you to the captain's cabin, captain's quarters.
And I say, please find Delta and tell him to meet me here in 20 minutes. I wish to think a little first.
All right. You have some time, and yeah, why don't we? I think this is going to take a little longer than expected. So why don't we hop to our first break, and you can think about what you want to ask Delta, and
Okay.
we'll figure everything else out on the other side. We'll be back
All
in
right.
about a little while, guys, like 5 to 10 minutes. So see you soon. Bye bye.
All right. See you soon.